This is part 2 of the lecture on the lunar phases. In part 1, I just simply went through exactly where the moon is in its orbit for the individual phases. Now here in part 2, let me begin by describing the times of day that you can see those phases. So here is my diagram from earlier. I've erased some of the details here for clarity. However, we have new moon, waxing crescent, first quarter, and so on. And then we have our Earth. As the moon orbits counterclockwise here on this diagram, the Earth is also rotating on its axis, like so, counterclockwise. And the Earth is rotating from west to east. So if this right here, for example, is the North Pole, here's to the west, here's to the east, this then means that the Earth is rotating like so, counterclockwise in this description. Let me go ahead and draw that like this. Okay, and then on the Earth, let's go ahead and describe the times of day. I'm going to do so in 3-hour increments. So for example, if you happen to be standing right here, facing towards the sun, this is pretty obviously noon. Okay, if you happen to be standing right here, 180 degrees away from the sun, pretty obviously this right here is midnight. Okay, and then we have these points here and here. Sunrise and sunset, we'll just say roughly 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Which one is which? Well, if you happen to be standing right here, remember that the Earth is rotating from west to east. So then therefore, if you're standing right here, you look towards the western horizon, and there's the setting sun. So this right here is sunset, we'll say 6 p.m. Okay, and then down here, once again, the Earth is rotating from west to east. If you look towards the eastern horizon like so, you then see the rising sun. This right here is sunrise. We'll just say that that's 6 a.m. like so. And then I can divide up into 3-hour increments in the following way. If this is noon, this right here is 3 p.m., 6 p.m., 9 p.m., midnight, 3 a.m., 6 a.m., and 9 a.m. like so for a full 24 hours. Okay, and now using these individual tick marks here in 3-hour increments, let's go ahead and describe the times of day that you could see specific lunar phases. So for example, begin with midnight. So if you're standing right here at midnight and we're talking about the lunar phase, specifically a full moon, notice that if you were standing right here, you would then see the moon straight up at midnight if it was full. Now, here in Los Angeles, we're actually too far to the north to ever see the moon at the zenith. It will instead reach its highest point when it hits the meridian. But for clarity, think of the zenith and the meridian as meaning the same thing here in this simple description. So if it's midnight and it's full moon, you would then therefore look straight up and you would then see the moon like so. So if it's full moon and you see it straight up at midnight, then therefore when does it rise? It rises 6 hours earlier. So then therefore if it's 6 p.m. like so and the moon is full, notice that you look towards the eastern horizon and there's the rising full moon. So full moon rises at 6 p.m. And then if it's still full moon, when does it set? Well, it sets at 6 a.m. Because if you're standing here at 6 a.m., you look towards the western horizon like so, and there is full moon setting. So basically, if it's full moon, you have to be on this side of the Earth, the night side of the Earth, in order to be able to see it. For a particular phase, you treat a particular phase in the following way. Figure out what time of day that phase is straight overhead, and then therefore it rises 6 hours earlier and it sets 6 hours later. Simple as that. So for example, let's choose waxing crescent, which is this position here. What time of day is it straight up? Well, if you're standing right here at 3 p.m., you look straight up like so, and there's waxing crescent. Therefore, it would have risen 6 hours earlier, right here at 9 a.m. It will then set 6 hours later, right here at 9 p.m. So if the moon is waxing crescent, you basically have to be on this side of the Earth, the side of the Earth that's facing toward the moon, in order to be able to see it. That's how you then determine for a particular phase what times of day you're able to see it. Let me go ahead and conclude here the lunar phases with part 2 of this lecture.